Hello folks, it's been a while. Don't do many videos right now. I'm mostly working, going through videotapes eventually, and that box of videotapes. Excuse me. And model kit making eventually when I get back to it. And finding stuff. Open up on these little babies. MD738 portable speakers. So there's your basic little details. New offer. I assume this is the brand for them. I've had a quick look online. They seem to be quite common things. Pretty reasonable sound. A little soft on bass, but you don't need masses of bass. You don't need unts everywhere. Excuse me, I'm just putting a battery in my MP3 player. Yes, I'm cheap. I got this from Boys years ago. It cost me £13 back then. But it's 1 gig and it works just fine. They have the battery in here. I assume it's probably a 3.7 volt, did it say? So that'll be a 4-cell battery. Little LiPo pack. A little bit of dirt I haven't been able to fully clean off it. Volume dial, charger. Quite common for mobile phones. They do glow blue. But it's a lot more duller than that. The camera's picking it up quite profoundly. Let's just choose a song we all know, which I'll only be able to play a few seconds of to a point, but MP3 player is set to about 22, which is no real bearing on volume. They're on just shy of full blast. Quite directional, so I'll place my part a little bit and pretty good sounding.
Doing it right, everybody will be dancing and we're feeling it right.
So, yeah, nice little find. Some people may or may not know I work on bin collections and stuff, and they were just going to be thrown out. One of the lads I was working with spotted them and says they're any good, give them a try. So I did. Haven't seen how long the battery lasts in them. Probably not for that long. That also brings me to what I'm about to do. Well, to show. Which is this. Another laptop. An old laptop. Old now anyway. It's a little fridgy at the moment. It's on my universal power box, power brick. And she has the screen completely broken. The hinges are just gone from the plastics. In fact, I've pulled that out again. I'm going to have to watch that for the cables. Sorry, camera seems a little... yeah. It is a Time Cybernote. E... something or other. Can't quite fully remember. It is running its original install of Time. Time? Yes, Time, the greatest OS that everyone forgot. Of Windows 98 First Edition. For example, this cowling shouldn't be angled up. Display of icons, as we can see. Power, sleep, left or right battery, A or B floppy disk. You can have 2 floppy drives in this. CD-ROM drive. And then the floppy disk image, I believe that is referring to reading to and from floppy disk. A or B is just if it's present. Hard drive indicator, and then the usual caps lock. Mouse button here is broke. This machine is from about 1998 and came with 56k PCMCIA modem. Missing the actual business end though. So yes, it has a modem. No, it is not able to be used. .266 MHz Pentium with MMX. Now I believe this is a Pentium 1 MMX. At 266 MHz. I think I have one of those in my Socket 7 desktop system. It's got 64 MB of EDO SD RAM, single chip, 3.9 GB 4 GB hard drive. It's about right for then. I have had it turned on and I've messed with it and played with it, but it just needs a fresh install of Windows 98. If I can ever fix the hinges. 512k external cache, CD-ROM driver. Story how I got it. Well, doing the bin round and came across a house. They had just a general pile of electrics and junk just sat outside, and I asked about a laptop. Did I just get sound? I've been having problems with the sound with it. Anyway, I'll check that in a second. Yeah, they had just a pile of junk, and they had an Acer Aspire laptop. Now, I didn't have my screwdrivers or anything with me at the time, but they asked about, they had some family photos and stuff, and I sort of knocked on the door and asked about it. I just said, you know, you've got this laptop out there, is it for being thrown away? Do you mind if I have it? And they weren't native British people, probably Chechenian or something like that, or Middle Eastern, but they're nice enough people, and there was I just sort of tried to explain, yeah, you know, I get laptops and computers and I fix them up and take them for parts or sell them on or strip them down and then recycle the bits once they're of absolutely no use, and it was a little hard sort of getting it through to the woman who answered the door first, but her husband, when I sort of spoke to him and that, and yeah, went to get the Acer, and they were saying, yeah, they had some family pictures and stuff on there, and they couldn't get into it, they didn't know how, and they would rather it was going to be sort of crushed in a recycling plant thing. When it's collected, they bat it with a hammer probably. And he went for a screwdriver, but needless to say, wrong size, so I couldn't get that out, but saw this old beauty sitting underneath with the lid, which does sort of fasten. It is a Time rebrand, by the way. Time were quite common for doing that. Many firms were back in the and still do it now. Yeah, nope, got the lid stuck. Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, so they said this one though was perfectly fine to take, because I said to them, I said, well, I mean, if you've got pictures and stuff and you don't want people having hello cat, you know, I said I'm perfectly happy, you know, if you want it to be recycled, because I can't get the hard drive out now and that, and you know, I don't come across much stuff anymore, so I was a little gutted, but I got this one so I can play around with it, see if I can repair the mouse. We'll have a tour of it afterwards, but needless to say, oop, turn exposure. It's a rough casing, pretty basic, even for its day, I suppose. Standard, rather small touchpad for the mouse, which I've been having problems with that, and it's basically as basic as you're going to get right now. It's quite junked up. I'll keep his name covered because, you know, privacy and everything. They were nice enough to give me it. 4/10/1998. Manufactured by Time. Let's have a quick... You can probably see the name of the person there. It has a Torisan CD-ROM CDR U240, so a 24-speed optical drive I think it is. Generic 1.44 megabyte floppy drive. A Neomagic Magigraph 128XD graphics card, or at least that's the driver, from Neomagic, copyright 16th of January 1998. The escape key is a bit funky, but I actually pulled that off. You undo these clips, and they're a little warped because that, and the keyboard just pops up, and you can undo the cable. At the moment, sorry if I'm all over the place, again, impromptu videos from me. It's running an Intel 82371AB EB PCI Busmaster IDE. It has infrared, a standard class 8x600 display. I've had to disable some stuff to get things to work, and it sounds like the sound is working now. ES 1869 audio, and 2 USB, which I believe are USB 1, 98, it could be 1.1 by this point. It's so hard to tell. I believe they'd installed Internet Explorer 5, and they had a USB adapter plugged in on it at one point. So they have had this online, or at least on the network. Whether it was used for school or anything like that, I don't know. They'd obviously customised the place. Their old internet favourites are empty and the like, just the standard ones. Explorer's crashed. Good old Windows 98. Mavis Beacon, that's always on every machine. They had Lotus Smart Suite, an Epson printer. They did have Office and Real Player and a few other things, but I just sort of cleaned it off to just make sure it was working. It was last used near enough 13 years ago is when it last had a disk defragmentation run. It was near enough 12 years ago when it last had a scan disk that was classed as properly ran. So one can assume it hasn't been turned on and used with any files, you know, or anything since at least 2001. So it's spent some time turned off. 3.67 gigs, so 4 gigabyte hard drive. I believe it is formatted as FAT32. There is pretty much nothing else of interest on here. Yep, FAT32. I've obviously ran disk defragment and check disk. I've not actually ran DXDiag yet, and I'm not going to be able to run it as well when I click the wrong thing. Run. Keyboard's quite nice typing action for its age. The mouse is a bit sticky and awkward. That could be because of some problems that I've caused with uninstalling a few things. Yep, Pentium 1, 266, 64 meg RAM, DirectX 8.1. Surprised by that. Date and time seems to be holding. I have no batteries for this laptop, or obviously no official power adapter, so the CMOS battery inside must be not too bad if it's able to retain a charge again. The time had completely gone, like, when I started it up. 2 megabyte graphics. I think this Neomagic Magigraph, they were quite a common chipset on these Pentium 1 systems. I have why do my zoom keep going forward? Yeah, I've worked on a few laptops from like 97, 98 that have this Neomagic graphics chipset. So I guess it was just your cheapest of the cheap you could get at the What will I use it for? Good question. Even I don't really know that. If I could repair the let's see if there's any sound working now. If I could get the hinge fixed for the screen, which, to be honest, if you look there, someone's tried gluing that, but because they've ripped it completely out, it's not held. But I think they've left the other side alone. Because all I was getting was these weird clicky pops at times. Yay, the sound! Not very loud sound. Knowing my luck, that's probably as loud as it gets. Again, it's probably because it's yeah. Let's turn that off. Probably because it's messed up. But that's where these can come in handy. I honestly don't know how much battery life they have. Hey. If only the cables were a bit longer. There we go. Yeah, other than that, really, there's not much else to show. Well, I might as well unplug them and turn it off and show you the outside. It's just another machine, bloody switch, laptop from the late 90s, when there was the big laptop boom, when people were starting to buy them in droves, getting any kind of computer really, because you could get them so bloody cheap. Right, now how am I going to do this? Like that, I suppose. And then push that. Nope. Well, for the moment it's secure. Right. The extent of the damage can be seen much better now. This side we have CD-ROM drive. Push the catch, slide it up. There's an optional little tab here and a spring to hide the inside, where on this side I believe you could also hook up maybe the floppy drive as well on this side, and a battery port. It has a S-video television out. I think this is permanently at PAL frequencies. Pop the cover, 2 PCMCIA Type 2 and 1 Type 3, where obviously my modem card would normally live. There is nothing on the front. Turn it right to the left. We have this main power, line in, microphone in, headphone out, sound out, 2 USB, floppy disk drive, which again can slide out using these little tabs, and this side can have the battery or a floppy disk. This bit's interesting. You undo the 2 screws, cover comes up, and the hard drive is here in its little caddy. The RAM ports, I actually have some RAM chips that may fit this downstairs under my bed, so get them out. We have infrared, serial, MIDI, exhaust vent, and then this is a little pop cover. Now what is interesting is you can cut out this little section here, as you can see, if I don't break it, and have it in a dock. Then the inside of the exhaust vent, 25-pin parallel, no doubt, PS2 keyboard and mouse, and VGA out. there is Kensington lock, hard reset, and the exact model, the Cybernote 953E, made in Taiwan, energy compliant, NB266, which would obviously mean relate to the processor. And that sticker, as you can kind of see, is referring to the two little push pins, which have very little movement, but more than enough. I'm probably going to try and fix that lid bit now on it, since I've messed it around. And this video's gone on long enough. Any questions, please ask. Loop me third out.